Hi, this is Andy from GPS Training. In this next video I'm going to show you how you can download routes from the internet to then send to Garmin's BaseCamp planning software to look at on the map page on your GPS and then actually send to your GPS. There's a load of great websites out there sharing routes and tracks that other people have saved in their GPS or actually planned on map pages for you to use in your own GPS. The one that I'm going to use today is a great website for if you're up in Scotland called Walk Highlands. So on the screen now I've got the walkhighlands.co.uk website. There's lots of other similar websites out there just by browsing the internet and finding websites that have Garmin friendly GPS routes on. The standard format that we use in a Garmin is a format called .gpx, so you're looking for sites that share .gpx routes or tracks. So this Walk the Highlands website, in the top left hand window on the Walk the Highlands there's an option called Walks, and I'm just going to select in the Walks. I'm just going to pick an area at random. I've got the Highlands, and then in a drop down box I can select Fort William. So if I select that on the screen, obviously other websites may be laid out differently, but it's just giving you an idea of what to look for on a website when you're downloading a GPX route for a GPS. So on the screen now it's giving me some extra information, extra areas to search for within Fort William. So I'm going to look at the top option, Fort William and Glen Nevis. What you'll see on this website now, it's given me a list of walks, and what's really nice about the website, it's grading them in difficulty, distance, and telling you how long they're going to take. So I'm just going to look at one at random here. We've got one called the Ben Nevis by the Mountain Path. So if I just left click on there, just wait for the screen to come up, and there's lots of information here where I can view and print a route map off, but what I'm looking for is the option of download GPS waypoints, and it's actually got that terminology GPX. That's the terminology we're looking for. It's a GPX route that we're going to download. Now some websites will actually give you their own instructions, which could be having to right click on something and then select an option, save as, and you would save it as a .gpx file. I've used this website before. It doesn't give me any instructions telling me that I have to right click on the download. It just simply got an underlined bit of text that says download GPS waypoints and then GPX after it. So I'm just going to left click on this underlined piece of text, download GPS waypoints, and what will happen now is on my Windows 10 machine I get the option of, do I want to save this Ben Nevis GPX track? Depending on how your computer is set up, it may just automatically download to the desktop of your computer or your downloads folder. What I normally recommend is that you create a folder somewhere on your computer, either on the desktop or in your My Documents, just to save your downloaded routes to. So on the option here I've got Save As, so if I select Save As, just give it a chance to give me an option where to save it. So it's asking me, where do I want to save this file? I haven't yet created a folder on the desktop of my computer, so I can click on desktop, and within desktop I can right click and select new folder. Again, depending on your own computer, as long as you know how to create a new folder just to save something into, and I'm just going to call this downloaded GPS routes. So in the future that's where I'll save any routes that I download from the internet. So I double click on that folder now. I'm basically going to save this as a GPX file. It's named Ben Nevis. That's I want to leave it as the name from the website. So I simply click save, and that GPX file for the GPS is now saved on a folder on my desktop called downloaded GPS routes. If I go back onto the walks and just pick a different area, just to show you another example, different area there, a list of walks again I can pick one at random. I've got one called the Pap of Glencoe. If I left click on there, and I'll have the same option on this one, I can download the GPS waypoints. So if I select on there, left click on there, just give it a chance to download. I'm just going to close the box down from the earlier one. There we go, I've got the same again. I still had a box open from before. I'd forgot to close the box down to say, what do I want to do with the Pap of Glencoe? Again, I can select Save As. Normally what you'll find on most machines, computers, it'll remember the last place that you saved something similar. So it's already directing me to the desktop in the folder that I created called Downloaded GPS Routes. It's a GPX file again, so I'm just going to click Save. And it's telling me now at the bottom that it's finished downloading, so I can just close that box down. what I'm going to do now is just minimize this website now, and on the desktop of my computer I'm just going to move this folder, downloaded GPS routes. If I double click on the folder and open it up, what I should see in there is the 2 GPX files that I've just downloaded from the Walk the Highlands website, and there they are, and they're only small bits of data. So if I look at this one called Ben Nevis, the next thing I want to do is import that into Garmin's BaseCamp planning software, so I can have a look at the route on the GPS page of the software, on the map page of the software, and actually look at that route and see what it looks like on the map page, and actually send it to the GPS as well. So I'm just going to open up the software. I already had BaseCamp software open, it was just minimized at the bottom of the screen. So I've got the BaseCamp logo that I've clicked on to open it up. I've already got my GPS device connected. I can see in the top left hand window devices and Oregon 700. And if I look in the maps menu at the top, I've already got Garmin GB Discoverer 50K, which is the Ordnance Survey map, and my GPS selected. So to import the routes that I've just downloaded, I need to create a folder and a list file in exactly the same way that we did when we were creating routes yourself on the software in our earlier exercises. Now I've already got a folder called Walking, so I hit the little plus symbol next to that. I can see I've got subfolders Lake District and Northumberland, so I could simply, in that Walking folder, so with Walking highlighted, select File, New, List folder, and create a folder Fort William, so any walks in the area of Fort William, this is where I'm going to save them. So I'm just retyping the new name on the folder. This is the same as the exercises we have for creating routes for the first time. So I've now got a folder called Fort William, and the same as our previous exercises, when you create a route, you then, with that folder highlighted, I select File, New, List for the electronic sheet of paper that we're going to save those downloaded routes onto. And the first one I'm going to do is Ben Nevis, so I'm going to call this list file Ben Nevis, hit the return key. And now, rather than actually creating the route myself, because I've actually downloaded it from the Walk the Highlands website, with Ben Nevis list file highlighted, I can simply use the File, Import Into option. So File from the top, Import Into, and then it'll ask me what do I want to import from my computer into that Ben Nevis list file. So what I need to do is locate, it's already went to that folder, Documents, My GPS Routes. That's the one that I used earlier, so I'm just going to go to desktop. That was the last file I used to import anything, so I'm actually going to the desktop now and selecting downloaded GPS routes, so I can find the Ben Nevis one that I downloaded from Walk the Highlands, and I simply double click on the Ben Nevis GPX file and just give it a chance to import. You can see the green bar going across the screen, and then what we'll now see, with the Ben Nevis list file highlighted, in the bottom left window I can now see the route symbol, the 3 green boxes, and the wording Ben Nevis by the mountain path. If I want to rename that and shorten the route name so that it appears a bit better on the actual GPS screen when I send it to the GPS, I can right click on the route name and say rename, and just make it a little bit shorter. Just call it Ben Nevis Mountain Path, just so it's a little bit of a shorter name. And if I right click again on that route name and just say show on map, it'll now take the map to where that route is that someone else has already planned for me, and I can have a look at it and decide whether that's the route I want to do and send to the GPS. If it was actually a track that you'd been downloaded rather than the route, because some websites share tracks where people have actually walked, actually done the walk, and it's a track they've saved in their GPS, what you would see would be a little footprint symbol rather than this route symbol, which is the 3 green boxes. So if I look on my GPS itself, internal storage, where I've actually got some tracks saved already, that little footprint symbol is what you would see if you download one and import it from a website in the way I've just done. If it hasn't got the route symbol and it's got a footprint symbol, you know when you send it to your GPS you're going to have to use the find or where to tracks rather than find or where to routes. So if I go back to this Ben Nevis one, I've now got that route, and if I want to send to that route to my GPS as in previous exercises, I can just right click and select send to, and always select the internal storage folder of your GPS, not the SD card. Click OK, and it'll now send that route that I've downloaded from the internet to my GPS device. And the same as previous exercises, you can amend the route and change it, add to it if you want, the same as our previous exercises, as if you'd done the route yourself. So that's just one good example of a website. There's lots of other websites out there sharing GPS routes for a Garmin GPS. It's just a case of having a search on the internet and finding the websites. So I hope you found this video useful on how to download routes from a third-party website and import them into BaseCamp software ready to send to your GPS. Thanks for watching this video.